All right, bro. We doing an early morning one.
What up? What
Well,
up?
early morning for me.
No, it's still early.
It definitely is, bro. It's definitely early. So we are going to continue our, I guess we'll call it a mini
One minute
series
series, yeah.
on rules that all men should know.
Rules of being a man.
Rules of being a man. I like that one. We're still fleshing that out. But
hmm
uh, before we get into that, you said you wanted to touch on two-way street. Is it good?
Yeah, this is something I've been kind of thinking about as of late. I guess you'd call it like a litmus test if I think something is a good sound idea or not. Um,
All right.
just kind of at a basic level, right? It's like is this a two way street, right? So, for example, um, does the logic flow both ways?
Mm-hmm.
Um, see what example can we use? I guess yeah. Well, and I guess what kind of got me started on this is making indictments or passing judgment on people, like what you think about a person, right?
Okay.
For example, it's like, oh man, you know, we have these examples or these experiences with people in our lives that we come across, right? So they'd be like, hey, and again, we've talked about this before, of giving like context to our statements or prefacing our statements. So be like, hey, and I like say, hey, you know what? In my experience, this person, you know, he or she or whatever, I think they're a piece of shit, right? But that could just be my experience with them in that moment of time, whatever, right? Look, at people change. Do I just have a um, like catch them on a bad day? Oh, you know, kind of that kind of stuff. So it's like the two-way street thing is, man, would I want that to come back my way, essentially, right? So if I send something back that, and if I send something like, I guess one-way street, right? And I seems like it's off topic, right? But may or may not be. So I was listening to this video the other day, and this lady was talking about the concept of if he wanted to, he would, right? And I'm like, on the basis level, like that sounds okay, right? But I think that is a one way street way of looking at something. And I heard another lady, I think it was like a real life TikTok or something, use that same concept, but she took it a step further. She's like, I don't like saying that. She's like, you know, the whole, if they wanted to, they would. She's like, because you do and you don't. I was like, hmm, interesting. I was like, yeah. Yeah. That is a two way thing, right? So it's like,
Yep.
usually like, yeah. And obviously, we don't get into politics or talk politics on that shit, but I think that's a good basis of does this work both ways just me personally, before I think this is a sound idea to even kind of like discuss it even further than that, right? So if it's just a one way street thing, like it's probably not a good sound thing to be talking about, or a good sound thought.
Uh, well, I think it depends.
hmm
For example, bad days. I've had bad days where um just whatever was going on, and I'm remembering one specific
hmm
moment in my head where I was unnecessarily rude to a young lady.
hmm
I wasn't in the mood. I was dealing with it had nothing to do with her. It had absolutely nothing. She was being very nice, and I was with a buddy of mine, and I was expressing my the shit that I had going on, and she was just trying to be nice.
Yeah,
Maybe there was some flirtation to it. I don't know, but in the moment,
not feeling it.
I was not there, and it wasn't. I just bad timing. Any other time, I never would have. You know, it was very uncharacteristic of myself,
Yeah,
and I can't remember exactly what I said, but I actually I'm trying to remember even what I said, but what I remember is my buddy going, one, her face was like, oh, and she walked away, and then my buddy was like, bro, you all right, man? I was like, bro, I'm trying to tell you what I got going on, and he's like, yeah, but that was a little crazy. I was
hmm
like, that's how it checked. Like
yeah,
in the middle of he was like, bro, what the fuck? That was very unnecessary. So to that point, you catch him in a bad moment. What you're talking about is like, is it a two-way street? I'm remembering
hmm
two individuals who exhibited traits
Mhm.
that we worked with, where they consistently and persistently
Mm.
did everything that they could
Mhm.
to undermine what I had going on. And I was not on the inside details of this, but it looked like for their own betterment
Mhm.
because they decided to flat out lie, distort what was going on.
Mhm.
And I got screwed and they got promoted.
Mhm.
That exhibits a personality trait.
Mhm.
Now, it could have just all been directed at me. Maybe they just didn't fucking like me. I don't know.
Possibility.
Maybe they don't treat everybody like that.
Possibility.
Fair.
Yeah.
Uh, but as far as I'm concerned,
Mhm.
they're both pieces of shit. And they can kiss my ass and they can kiss my ass every day. And that's just how it will always be
Mhm.
because it wasn't just like a heat of the moment uh, personality flaw.
Mhm.
They demonstrated for a long period of time. And to my knowledge, they still do.
Mhm.
So they can fuck off. To the other point, the more broader spectrum of politics, and again, we don't. This is not a deep dive into any one side or the other.
Yeah, no.
Matter of fact, we've talked about it. Most people get really pissed off because I'm pretty middle of the fucking road,
Mhm.
and that drives people crazy
Pick a
because
side.
they hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, I can hear both sides and be like, well, that makes sense. That's stupid. That make whatever. I can do
Yeah.
that. Um, I this is getting off topic of the two-way street, but my thing, my observation lately in the last couple of years has been people in the United States care way, way too much about shit that has no bearing on them whatsoever.
Mhm.
I think we've talked about it,
Mhm.
and it doesn't matter. Both sides have been in office since we've been talking.
Mhm.
So that part doesn't matter. But people, the rage and the protests and all that, and they're just like the world is falling and everything's coming to an end. And I'm like, you really feel that way while you're sitting there on your fucking iPhone, drinking your seltzer water, driving it, your car, living in your like. There's people, and I guess that's the thing when you start traveling around the world.
Mhm.
There's people in way worse shape, dude.
Oh, of course.
Like the world is not falling.
Mhm.
The world is not falling, and it's like you can't even have a conversation. Like it's almost like if you agree or believe this, then we can never even have a conversation. We can't even be neighbors. We can't coexist
Mm.
because of how you feel about something in a faraway land or about something that has no bearing on what's going on right now, right here.
Mhm.
We've begun to get outside the here and now and the present. And I mean, if I have to tell me if I have to edit this out, how many predictions have we had that the world is going to come to an end and collapse if we don't do certain environmental changes or whatever? I think my entire life we've been having this conversation.
How many raptures have we
And
missed?
oh, dude, the Mayan calendar ends in
Yeah.
2020 or, the
Yeah.
2000 Y2K. I mean, how many?
Mhm.
And I'm laughing just because I saw it pop up and I'm not attacking anyone. And I do think actually you should protect the environment, but whatever. Anyway, it's like the world's going to end in 10 years if we don't
Yeah.
go, completely off fossil fuels. And that was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, oh, it's like it's this the immediacy and the like the world is falling type shit that uh I don't know, man. It's almost making it where you can't have conversations with people. And the more extreme you are on one side or the other, it's like, hi, my name is Tyler. Hi,
Mhm.
who did you vote for? Like it's almost like question number two or three,
Yeah.
or how do you feel about whatever the issue of the day is? And I'm
Like,
like,
what?
I don't even know you, man. I don't even know. I'm not going to talk to you about none of this
Yeah.
shit.
But that's what I mean though. Like a lot of it is like
Yeah,
it's like one-way street logic. Like if you're
yeah.
not on this, then
Can't
nothing.
even
Can
begin to hear the
nothing.
other side.
Nothing. And I'm like,
Yeah,
it's wild to me. But I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, bro. Yeah. Well, and then relationally, if we can, I mean,
No,
this is
yeah.
what I'm saying. We can kind of,
Yeah.
it can kind of go all
Yeah,
over the
I think
place.
that's why I say it's a for me it's like a basic like test of like in most situations
Yeah.
like is this applicable back and forth? Because if it's not like, mm,
Well, so this is the thing. As you get older, I think you know what I'm talking about when I say hard lines in the
oh
sand.
yeah,
Like I could never be with anybody who does
Yeah,
XYZ or
yeah.
whatever, right?
Mhm.
Or doesn't do
Yep,
whatever side of the line they're
yep.
on. As you get older, that line or the amount of things on either side of the line shrink,
Mhm,
and you find out what your core is. Like
mhm.
these are my baselines,
Yep.
and we'll get into the rules of all men should know. But relationally, it's interesting to me that sometimes there's hard lines that you conflict on. It's like, well, I'm not going to do that or whatever.
Mhm,
And I continue to say this. I don't know why it has to be so nasty. If it's like, hey, this is a hard line. I
mhm.
can't. This isn't the type of life or the type of person I want to have spend the rest of my life with
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah,
or even have in my life,
yeah,
whatever, however you want to phrase it.
yeah.
Doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make me a bad person, but it has to be that way.
I don't think I don't think it has to
Well,
be.
not
Yeah, yeah, but
what
I
I'm
see what
saying
you
is
mean, I see
not,
what you
it's
mean.
like I've never had a moment where it's like, "Hey, look, this just isn't working out, for whatever reason," and it go, yeah, you know what? It is what it is.
Okay,
Hey, bad time, whatever the reason might
yeah,
be," and you go, it's never
yeah,
gone
it's
that way.
never it's very rare, like, "I respect that." Okay, cool.
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
it's like it doesn't have anything to do with the preamble,
Mhm,
right? The abuse or cheating or whatever. It's none of that stuff. Criminal. It's just like, hey, ideologically or relationally,
mhm.
I just can't do this.
You should be like I said, you should be able to do that and it'd be okay, but, relationally, I think, I've noticed that as
You
well.
know what I'm
I
talking
I know
about?
I know what you mean. But it is interesting. It does well, that like, so we'll get to that other stuff in a second, but it does spark um, something that I've kinda just noticed. I don't know if I've I mean, you've always noticed it, but, um, I guess been, in deeper thought about it as of late. The concept of, like you said, hard lines in the sand. Like, you know what? When
Mhm.
people are like, "Oh, I have, preferences and things this is this," I was like, "Listen, all of those things are just disqualifiers. Let's just call them what they are. The preferences, right?
Yeah,
The preferences, like, they're just disqualifiers." Like, "What do you mean? How
that's
my
what
like,
it
how
is.
my preference?" I was like, "Yeah, yes." I was like, "But your preference is just disqualifying everybody." It's like, and for example, we'll just say the, height, right? So, like, you have women say, "Oh, I want a guy that's like 6 feet tall," right? Or a guy say, I want a girl with, um, black hair," right?
Sure, whatever.
Right? So you're excluding everybody that's not within those parameters. I was like, but that doesn't mean because you are within it that you're gonna get the spot either.
Mhm.
And at a base level, I was like, all of that when someone likes you, all that other shit just goes out the window. It doesn't fucking matter.
Ah, bro, that's so true.
None of that shit matters at all, right? So I was like, if somebody likes you,
Guys and
and
girls.
guys and
Yeah,
girls, like,
guys
yeah,
and
bro,
girls.
if they like you or you like something, and I was
Yeah.
explaining this to a few of my friend a couple weeks ago. He said, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Listen," I said, "Think about the person that you just oh, that's what it was. We're talking about Chris Brown." And I was like, "You're a fucking hypocrite." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I've listened to you talk about the men that you like or that you don't like or the issues that you have, blah, blah, blah." "But you like Chris Brown." She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "He literally has 4 or 5 things that he's done in a lifetime that
The
that are hard lines for you in the sand that you said
Mhm,
you would never." It's like, if it was just a regular guy, you would never if Chris Brown wasn't Chris Brown, you would never date him.
mhm.
She's like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "When you like somebody, none of that shit matters. None of it matters at all. What they've done, their past.
Yeah.
You overlook a lot of shit." And I think this shit to you before. It was a video of like an old pimp, and the interview was like, he's like, "What he said, you got any like dating advice, love advice?" And he's like, he pauses for a minute. He's like, he's like, "It's the one you like, not the one that likes." He's like, "No." He's like, "It's the one." He's like, "You should pick the one that likes you, not the one you like."
Yeah.
He's like, "Because the one that you like, you'll take all kinda like you'll overlook a lot of shit, you'll overlook red flags, blah, 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 whatever, just
Yep.
because you like them." He's like, "But the one that likes you would never do that kinda shit to you and never make you feel that way." I'm like, "Hmm." I was like, and I just for me, that hit me hard personally, 'cause that's just the issue that I've had in a lifetime of dating, focusing on how much I like, the woman, and not necessarily focus
Yep.
on if she actually likes me back or not. I'm like, "Yeah, that's actually really good motherfucking advice." I was like, let's put that in the miniseries at some point. It's the one that likes you, not the one you like.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this, because on the street tail side, we've been actively trying to speak to the spouses,
Yeah.
and it's just so happened to be the female
Mhm.
spouses. I'm very interested to talk about to a
Yeah,
male
yeah, yeah,
spouse whose
interesting.
wife is in law enforcement,
Mhm.
but sadly I don't know any off
Where the
currently.
husband is not in law enforcement. Yeah.
Yeah, which is rare, by the
Very,
way.
very rare.
It's like it's anyway. But the two that we've talked to so far, it's both two different personality types, two different stories, but they're husbands in different aspects of their life. But the one thing they both have in common is they put up with a lot of shit
Mm,
because they're both in this scenario, both husbands are currently retired and doing other things,
mhm,
but they put up with a lot of shit and they stayed because they're like, that's my man, that's my man.
mhm.
Or I still love Veronica
Yeah.
Palomara. Her comment was because she felt like she had nothing to say,
Mhm,
and she was just like, I wanted to be his wife and have his babies
mhm.
and support his career. Like that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And you could see she was struggling with her own internal stuff because listen, nobody men are ruthless to each other for sure,
Oh,
but
yeah.
women, woo, buddy, they can
Whew.
they what do you mean you were just a housewife or you were just taking care of his kids or whatever? Like you didn't have your own career? Like
Mhm,
they are ruthless, bro.
mhm.
And it's like, why are you knocking somebody who
That's what
that's
she
what
wanted to
like
do.
why
Yeah,
does that affect you in any way?
yeah. That's what she wanted to
And it was
do.
like, but she's doing what she want to
Yeah.
do. And then Elise, she has her own career. She's doing her own thing. Once again, so what?
Mhm.
Like that's her. You see what I'm saying? Like I just don't know why that bothers people so much when they hear that.
I don't know. It's just crazy.
But the point I was getting to is they stayed
Mhm.
and they went through it. They fought with it, and now I mean, they're once again. I can only go off what's being said and
Yeah.
articulated to me,
Exactly.
but they're crushing it. They're
Mhm,
they're in a good place, right? They went through the trials and tribulations and
mhm.
the arguments and the he's changing and I don't like this or he's never all the things that come
Yeah.
with somebody being in law enforcement. They're always gone. A lot of times the job comes first, and
Mhm.
meaning hey, let's go on a date Friday. Up, call came. I gotta go. Or holidays, birthdays, kids baseball, whatever the games are. Right? You
Mhm.
miss a lot of shit.
Mhm.
Um, I think I've talked about it. I don't know if I've talked about it on 56, but uh, you know, we would celebrate holidays whenever I could
Mhm.
squeeze them in because you typically work every
Yeah.
holiday.
Or you do the day before or day
Ho-
after, Yeah.
Holidays don't mean anything. You either celebrate Christmas in the morning or at night whenever you get
Yeah, yeah,
home,
exactly. It's not
or
yeah.
sometimes you celebrate it on the 27th. Whatever.
Exactly. Holidays are not all day events. They're usually partially
No,
partial
no, no.
partial event. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get half a day at max
Mhm. Yeah.
if you're even
If
there.
you
So
if you get that at all.
yeah,
Exactly.
but the point being the ones that have stayed through the
Mhm.
entire career, right? The entirety of someone's career is because to your point, what you
Mhm.
were saying, they wanted them. They saw what was coming after,
Exactly.
and they supported them. They stood by them, even in the shit.
That
That's strong, bro.
that's how you know. That's how you know. You don't really know
Yeah,
something until it gets tested. And that's usually how you know.
yeah, man. And I can only say this, speaking as a man, to be again preamble. Man's crushing it. He's doing his thing,
Mhm.
career mode, whatever. You might not have the life you thought you were going to have, but he's working his ass off.
Mhm.
Let's just phrase it that way. Um, to be able to come home to peace and comfort and validation
Mhm.
and support, bro. Uh,
Hard to
you
top it.
can't. I don't even know. You can't put a price on it, bro. It's just like you need that sometimes.
Yeah. At a
And
base level.
Doug White said this. Doug White said, and then we'll get to the thing. But Doug
Mhm.
White said this, and it was so good what he said. He goes, everyone thinks relationships or marriage or whatever is 50-50. He goes, it might hopefully at the end of it all, from beginning to end, it evens out to 50-50.
Mhm.
But on a day to day, it might be 60-40. He goes, sometimes it might be 99-1.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your partner needs you
Mhm.
to shoulder the weight that day or that week or whatever. And sometimes you need the same, right?
Yeah.
So it's not always going to be 50-50. And you can break that down dishes,
Yeah.
chores, laundry, whatever, but it also might be emotionally. Like
Mhm.
You need to stop what you're doing because your partner needs you way more than you need them in that moment. And you need to be able to recognize it and stop and see that, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that hit me because it's like, it's almost like you think 50-50 every day. And it's like, nah, that shit don't work out that way, bro. It
Mm-mm.
don't work out.
Mm-mm.
And then
Mm-mm.
you add kids to it. Now you're splitting it 3, 4, 5. I mean, I got friends of mine that have 4 or 5 kids. It's like, woo, I don't even know how do you have room in your brain for anything else? You got work, you got your spouse,
Yeah.
you got your
Yeah.
kids, and then you start multiplying them kids.
Yeah.
Each kid needs, and each kid is different. You can't just say, "Yeah, I'm hanging out with my kids." It's like, no, because you're hanging out
Yeah.
with
This one don't like
this
this
son
one.
or this
This
daughter
one
or
don't like
whatever.
that. Yep.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Yep.
and they're all dealing with their own shit
Yep.
too.
Yep.
Anywho, all
Yeah. Let's get into it.
right, bro. Sorry, little rant.
No,
This is
no,
what
no, no,
happens when
no,
you
no, no, no,
early in the morning.
no, no. We're good. We're good. We're good. The
Be a
fir-
producer, not a consumer.
be a producer, not a consumer, right? So this is one thing that I would obviously a lot of these are lessons that I wish I knew obviously a lot earlier in life, right? Um,
Mhm.
but at a base level, be a producer, not a consumer, right? Is if you're not creating anything, it's not that you don't necessarily have value, but it's hard to it's hard to make it in the world in a long lasting sense if you're not producing something, right? I think it just adds to your value, not just relationally, but like in the world, right? So if you're all you do is like, I think this is not to belittle any other profession by any stretch of the imagination, right? Um, let's say you're just a I don't know, like a gamer, right? So like a video gamer, right?
Sure.
And you're just playing, just playing. I say just playing games, right? Those guys get paid a lot of fucking money to play video games, and some of the professional ones, right? It's like, but at the end of the day, do you think that that is more valuable than a guy who does HVAC or who's an electrician
No,
or a welder
no,
or whatever? Like,
no.
so these it essentially comes back down to like have a skill that you can produce something and be valuable, not just for yourself, but to the world, to society, like do something, create something, do something, be of value. Because when this
Mhm.
shit collapses, if it collapses, I'd like to say, the zombie fucking apocalypse comes. Um, some of this shit's gonna go out the window, and if you don't have a skill, you're not necessarily gonna be valuable in the grand scheme of things.
Facts. And what I'll say about that is this. That is something that, everybody talks about, what's going on with this generation or where
Mhm.
the world's going to and AI and all this other shit. Not that you can stop it. I'm not doing a deep dive on any of this
Yeah.
stuff on this show. I've done it in
Mhm.
my own personal life, but at the end of the day, you still need to go. You're still you need somewhere to live,
Yeah.
right? You need, especially in the more extreme temp areas of the country.
Mhm.
You need heat or air, right? And I think I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I've talked about it. This idea that everyone has to go be, a college graduate. And again, I have no issues with education, but when it comes down to it in your home, right, you need to have some sort of skill set, some base level skill set so you can fix it,
Yeah.
or build it or make it or create it,
Mhm.
to fit your needs. And, people look down on men and women who don't go to college, but they get it. They call what, blue collar? I
Blue
don't
guy,
even
they
know,
just
bro.
call it
But
blue collar,
whatever,
whatever.
whatever. They look down on this stuff like, oh, that's all you do. When
Mhm.
in the college setting and
Yeah.
in the white collar setting, you're like,
Mhm.
ugh. But then as you get older, you're like, man, I need this skill set badly because I think I've told you when COVID hit and
Mhm.
you couldn't get anybody to come do anything, and I had to go to my neighbor and go, hey, I need a saw, and he was like, what kind?
Like,
I
with
was like, the one that goes like that. He goes,
no, bro.
well, what are you cutting? And I'm like, he's like, all right, bro,
Let me show you.
show me what you're
Let
trying
me
to do.
show you. Let me show you. Let me show you what's going on.
I had no fucking
Yeah.
life skill on that, bro,
Yeah.
because I
Let me
never
show you.
needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus. And that's launched to a whole different thing for me. Now I have, well, dude, even you, bro. Now that you're a homeowner, because I remember you'd call me and I'm like, oh, I'm mowing the lawn or I'm fixing that.
Mhm.
You're like, bro, I ain't doing that shit, bro. Pay someone to do that. I was like, one, to even find somebody is expensive.
Yeah.
Two, you might be sitting there for a few months because they're
Mhm.
back. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
And here you are,
I do everything.
pulling bushes, mowing the lawn,
I do
bro.
everything.
Your whole garage is full of tools.
I do everything.
Oh, you're even painting your house. You painting your own
Yep.
house and stuff because you're like, how much? $3,000.
I'll just do it.
I'll go get some
Yeah,
paint. Go fuck
I'll
yourself.
do that shit my goddamn self.
I'll do it
I'll do
myself,
it my
bro.
fucking self.
Yeah. Now there's still two things I don't fuck with. I don't fuck with electricity or plumbing, and I still everybody laughs at me. But like, if I got to change the outlet, I turn all the power off. I don't fuck with electricity, and plumbing is like you think it's good until it's not, and then
Yeah.
it blows up in at the worst moment. But anyway, so the skill set, dude. Actually, we might need to add two things we need to add to the list,
Mhm.
bro. I don't even know what you call that. Blue collar skill sets.
Uh-huh. That's right down blue
And the
collar.
other one I just popped in my head is for men. I think men and women, you should be able to. I don't. We got to flush it out.
Mhm.
Defend yourself, but like you need to take care of your mind and your body. And if somebody is threatening you, you need to be able to know how to handle it, not just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna call the police,"
Yeah,
because the police might not come, bro.
that's
To know where you at, they
exactly.
might not be there
That's
in
just
time to handle
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, yeah. So tell me this all the time. Law enforcement is a reactionary thing. So if you're waiting on the police to come and save you,
No,
mm,
very rare.
that's not how I would handle it. But to
No,
each their own.
yeah, no. It's something. It's also crazy to see again in the world that we live in. We all talk cops, right?
Mhm.
And cops have a certain way of viewing the world, I
Mhm.
guess. Sometimes for good or bad, either way. But the ability to be able to bare minimum, like I might not win, but it's gonna
It's
cost
gonna
you to
cost.
come
That's
get
it.
this.
It's gonna
It's
cost
gonna
you.
cost you.
It's gonna cost you.
Yeah. Neither one of us. You're not gonna feel like you
Yeah,
won.
yeah, no, yeah.
Put it that
Exactly.
way.
100%.
But then you start talking to people not in that world, and they're just like, "Just call you. Why didn't you just call the cops?" Bro, it's happening
Right
right in
now,
front of you.
yeah, exactly.
They're in the house, bro,
Mhm.
or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So having that ability.
100%.
But anyway, back to producer consumer. I'm actually going to switch gears a little bit on
Mhm.
that.
Sure.
I hear what you're saying. Produce something instead of just always consuming.
I guess it's more about, like, not
Or
being dependent all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what I was gonna lead it into relationally, not just
Mm,
with your significant other, but
yeah,
also friends.
yeah.
Tell me what you think about this. We all have had, or maybe still, just depending on the level of your friendship, have that friend that feels like they're always taking and never giving.
Mm,
And that could be a couple of things. They always want to dump their problems on you,
mhm,
but they never have time for you to dump your problems on them.
mhm.
That's number one. And then number two, and I had a friend like this in Nashville. Every time we went out and we were having a good time, came time to pay the bill. Ah, bro, I left my wallet. But it wasn't like once. It happens.
Mhm.
And listen, it happened to me. I talk shit about it all the time, and I've hated it, and I've been shit, and it's happened to me. But it's like a one off. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
holy fuck, I left my wallet wherever, but dude, as soon as I got it, then
Send
whatever,
you
I took
send
care
it
of it
back.
immediately.
Exactly, yep.
But we all have that friend that's like, "Ah, bro, I'll get you on the next one." Bro, you said that 7 times ago.
Yeah.
It's like, at some point, like, we gonna stop hanging out because
Yeah.
this is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got to the point where we would go somewhere like, "Do you have your wallet? I wanna see
I
your
wanna
wallet, and show me that you have it in your hand, bro.
I wanna see it ahead of time now. Yeah.
Put money in your sock or something, bro,
Yeah.
because gee,
Matter of fact,
Lord." So anyway, but
let me hold your wallet. Give me your wallet so
you
you
know
don't
what?
lose it.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
But in the idea of like producing and consuming, there's people who feel like they always take
Mm,
and they never give.
mm.
I don't see how you can have any type of relationship one way or the other for that.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. It can only last so long, right? It can only last so long until the one person just gets fed up and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm out. And it is surprising because when that gets to that point and that happens, the person on the other side is like so shocked and like, wait, what? I don't understand. Fuck you mean you don't understand? But what?
Yeah. For them, it's just so normal.
Exactly. And I'm like, I was like, and it's
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's almost like they're just selfish people. But it's like, and I've thought about this. I've talked about this on in different spaces. But I'm like, you know what? I think that people are by nature selfish.
Oh yeah.
They're 100%,
100%.
100%.
It's
People are
very
just
abnormal to not be
are
selfish.
naturally
Yeah.
selfish, right? But I think it's they
100%.
don't they don't know it, right? Because no one's ever like said anything or checked them about it or whatever, or they just get around other people who just kind of just like let it ride or let it slide.
Yeah.
And when they finally have it, they're like, "Oh, you think I'm so?" Yes, yes, I do, and these are the reasons
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
And you can be that way, but I'm out on it. Like the lack of reciprocity is crazy to me in some sense. In some senses, so I
it's
just
too
don't.
much,
I'm like,
bro.
what are you talking? What? What
Yeah,
do you mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Well, let me say this, for people who are like, "I'm not selfish," let me explain something to you. If you don't have kids, have kids. You don't have to teach them to be selfish. They want what they want when they want it, and they will throw a fucking tantrum. Again,
Mhm,
hopefully this gets corrected early on and not
mhm,
into their 20s and 30s.
yeah,
To see a grown man or woman throw a tantrum is wild to me. I was like, there is nothing that serious that makes me want to do that.
mhm.
Anywho, but yeah, definitely on that. And I will say this since I got you on here for the longest time, and I don't know if how I'll ever catch up, but you are, have been, were, and still are a much better friend than I
You
was.
say that all the time.
No, but you're always you always call right back. You know, your texting game is has gotten soft on the
Oh, bro,
last few years.
that's just yeah,
Yeah,
that is a character flaw, right? So yeah.
but it's like, BJ, if and and the thing is this, you have said it, but you did it. I was like, I need you, bro. I'm having a rough spot. You
Mhm,
will stop what you're doing, and
mhm,
either you have come to me,
mhm,
or you have stopped what you're doing, and I've vented for hours about stuff that I've already vented to you about hours,
which is fine. Yeah,
previously, and you just listen. And I will say this in the moment, mostly, I don't know, the last maybe 10 years or so, I had so much other stuff drawing from me,
mhm,
uh, emotionally, mentally, professionally, all that. It was draining me. I felt like I had nothing left to give anyone else.
mhm,
And I don't have that many men for sure, period, that I can dump or, talk to that way.
yeah,
Just, all the good and the bad and the ugly, bro.
mhm,
Where I'm just like, I just need someone to listen, and if I'm a piece of shit, be like, "Bro, you're being a piece of shit right now," or be like, "That's not you, man. You need to." Anyway, whatever.
yeah,
And only maybe in the last couple of years do I feel like I've gotten better at that with you
mhm,
specifically, 'cause keep in mind, you had your own shit going on.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. It's not like well, he doesn't have kids, but that's
yeah.
not the point. We all have our shit going on. And so, I think you say, "Give you your flowers." I'll give you your flowers on that. And you still to this day do stuff, and I'm not gonna get into details, but you still do stuff today that I'm like, "Bro, that's fucking crazy. I would not do that." But you're like, "Nah, man, it's just the right thing to do." I'm like, No, bro. No, bro." But that's who you are, man.
Mhm. I appreciate that.
So anywho, yeah, you're definitely a producer, on that front, and not a consumer, so I give you your flowers, bro.
I appreciate that.
You ready to go into number 2?
Yeah. I was writing down a note. We're good. Second thing,
Beast.
be stoic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Be stoic.
Yeah.
Be stoic. This is
This is something that's
this
faltering strongly, on the male
on
side,
the
but
male
go ahead.
side, yeah, but it is it's definitely like I think it is an acquired skill.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also something I think that has to be taught. Right. I think other men should
Yeah,
teach this. Or I think it's rare that you could this is how I operate. I see something and I'm like, what is that? Because I try to go seek things out that I want to know and learn, or I see someone exhibit a skill or whatever, and I'm like, I want to know what that is, or what is it that they have that's not so that I don't have, but what do they have that I can benefit from and I can use in my own, um, life tool bag, if you will.
yeah,
Mm. And the Stoicism is one that's like it's a definitely a learned behavior, and I think it's something that every man should learn and acquire. It'll take you a long way in life for sure.
yeah, for sure. You're right. Well, let me say
Yeah.
this while you're right. Um, 1, I agree, and I don't I did my best to teach it to my son,
Hmm.
and my daughter, to be honest with you. And hopefully this is what you mean, and we can talk about other stuff if this is not what you mean. But for me, it's like when you're in the middle of doing something you hate doing or you're upset, there's people that you can allow to see you're upset, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Your parents,
Mhm.
hopefully, um, your family, that kind of a thing, your close friends. And this is why I keep telling my kids, I was like, I have very few close friends, what I would deem close friends. I can count them on one hand, typically. And very few people. But
Mhm.
for everyone else, they don't let them see you be upset. Like somebody else outside your circle
Mhm.
shouldn't be able to affect you to the point that you lose control of your emotions or yourself. Like just start screaming and like you see this shit in public all the time, and
Mhm.
it blows my mind where they're just screaming and yelling. I was like, bro, you are in public, bro. Like, what are you doing, bro? Do that shit in your car or
Exactly.
whatever. Right? You
Mhm.
need to keep that tight. And one example is started working out with my son when he was like, I don't know, 13, 14.
Mhm.
And we would push. And again, I will continue to say this. My dad told me this a long time ago. He goes, just because you're a good player doesn't mean you're a good coach. I didn't really understand what he meant by that until I started trying to coach and teach my kids. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I am not a good coach. God, my patience level was already zero and it got worse. And so I have faults. But I was like, what are you doing? Why are you acting this way? Well, it's hard and I don't want to do it. I was like, we were in public, son. Like, don't ever do that. And I was a little hard on him. I'm not gonna say exactly what I said. He remembers. But then he went to the Marine Corps, and nobody had time for that shit. They
Nope.
didn't give a fuck. We know it's hard.
Yeah.
No shit.
That's
That's
the
why we're doing
that's
it.
the fucking point.
That's the fucking point.
Yeah.
Lock it up.
Mhm.
I don't want. Don't let me see that it's hard. Basically,
Yeah. We know.
is kind of and he called. He calls. We talk every week. I talk to my daughter every day, but
Mhm.
I talk to my son at least once a week. And every now and again, he'll be like, "Dad, I know what you were trying to say. I get it.
Mhm.
I get it." And now he was telling me a story just recently. He was doing something, I don't know, and there's a whole thing within the military arsenal, Marines, Navy, Army, all this other stuff right there. And he goes, I saw some Navy guys. I was like, how'd you know they're Navy? He goes, come on, they were Navy. And they were talking about push-ups or something like that. He was in line to do something, and they started like kind of like, oh, Marines. So he just went down. He cranked out like 70 push-ups. He's like, y'all want to go for a run? Like, what do you want? Like, basically, he goes, now it was hard, but I'm not gonna let them know it was hard. I
100%.
had to beat him.
Fuck
I
no.
had to beat him
Have to. Have to. Have to.
because it's more than himself. And hopefully, I think that's what you're trying to allude to is like you're representing more than just yourself. You should do that for yourself, but you're representing either where you work, your family, whatever it is, your
Mhm.
team, whatever it is that you're representing. It's like you want to be stoic. You want to be seen as like, oh, thank God. And let me say
Yeah.
this, he
Yeah.
or she, I've met some very stoic women in my
Mhm.
life. Once again, I feel like we talk about Mo a lot,
Mhm.
but she's heavy on her brain, I guess. Mo is very stoic, bro.
Yeah.
Even she had a lot of shit going on,
They never know.
but it was like, oh, thank God he's there. She's there.
Mhm.
Everything's gonna be okay. And they might not know what the fuck they're doing.
but you don't know that.
Actually, hold on. George Kramer, this was on Street Tales. He was a LA County SWAT guy,
Mhm.
which, bro, you want to talk about crazy. They had 100 something, maybe more full time. That's all they did, SWAT guys. Like they had teams of SWAT.
Very
Yeah,
busy.
not just one team.
Yeah.
They had multiple teams. And he would talk about, because he got into it where he was training the next generation of SWAT guys. And he still is. Shout out George Kramer. But he would say, look, you are now SWAT guy, even though you still have a lot to learn. When you show up on scene, everyone's going to go, oh, thank God, SWAT's here. Even if you don't know the next fucking step, he goes, you better act like you do and make the right calls or whatever.
Mhm.
Make the appropriate phone calls.
Yep.
But again, it's I'm hoping this is what you mean by stoicism
Mhm.
is you need to even fake it till you make it kind of a thing, but you've been trained,
Yeah.
right? And just have that demeanor on you.
Mhm.
Like, I got this.
Got it. 100%.
I
So
mean, that happens to you, right?
all
Oh,
all
thank God. BJ, bomb guy's here.
all the
Oh,
time.
thank God. I have
All the
no idea
time.
what to do.
All the time. And I'm like, I just know like three extra steps that you don't. That's to say, but we'll figure it.
Whatever.
Yeah, but I'm confident in myself that we'll figure this out and we'll get it and
Yeah.
we'll get it right, right? Um,
Yeah, for
for
sure.
people who don't know what Stoicism is, right? Stoicism is an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy focused on developing self-control and fortitude as a
Yeah.
means of overcoming destructive emotions. Right? It teaches that virtue is the only good is the only good, and that we should be indifferent to external events by focusing on what we can control.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's a um, and I would say this usually somewhere like my younger cousins or even like younger kids that I've been around where like I know the parents and the young kids. I'm like,
Hmm.
and this is not to knock women by any stretch of the imagination, right? But I tell with like young kids, it's like you're around your mom too much. Like, what do you mean? I was like, because you're very very emotional. You're lashing out, like you said, when the kids are small and they just they're very reactive of like not knowing how to control their emotions. And
Hmm.
even in grown adults, you'll see a lot of people that are probably dead or in jail because they didn't know how to be stoic or control their emotions or just kind of hold it together. They're
Yeah.
very reactionary, very active to like I said, to external things. Um, and by any means, when people say stoic, and I'm very big on like the mental health, going to therapy thing because I go once a week.
Yeah.
Been through some shit, obviously, in life, and people think, "Oh, you have it together." I was like, just because just because I wasn't talking about it doesn't mean I
Hmm.
wasn't dealing with shit. I was like,
Yeah.
um, but being stoic is not about not feeling emotions. It's not what it's about. It doesn't mean you're not feeling
Hmm.
emotions. Not mean doesn't mean you're emotionless or a fucking psychopath or or whatever. That's not what that is. What that is keeping it inside at the moment, right? But I do go to therapy so I can deal with it at a later point in time,
Yeah.
right? Not necessarily just oh, like you said, you get out of the car, you show up, and like I'm not gonna be freaking out too. I was like, I was like,
Yeah.
you're already freaking out. What's it gonna do us any good for us to both be freaking out? And especially
Yeah.
for this could be right or wrong, right? Societal or gender roles, whatever, right? It's something that I do believe this. As a man, you should be, and it's obviously rules to being a man. I was like, you should be the rock of your family. You should be the one
Yeah.
that your wife comes to be have solutions or get things figured out. Not to say that your woman can't provide those things herself. I was like, but you should be the rock of uh, a sturdy place for the family to be in times of no, that's not even in bad or tumultuous times, but just in general. They're always going to
Hmm.
look to you to be responsible for everybody else,
Yeah.
and I think that's a I see it as a privilege, but it is a weight, right? But it is I think it is a privilege. It gives you some. If they didn't think that they didn't think you could handle it, they wouldn't look to you like that. And I don't know if you were there, but I don't know if you remember this whole story because we were inside and it was Corporal Arthur at the time,
Hmm.
and I think we're doing like fucking suicides on the fucking pad where you got to run to one side, do push or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, right? And he's just walking, walking by, and I'm around. He's like, I can. I'm like, yes, sir. I was fucking dying a little bit. And he's like, he told me to stop for a second. He stopped me for a second. He's like, he's like, you're the biggest, he's like one of the biggest, strongest guys here. It's like they're always gonna look to you. They're always gonna look to you to handle everything and be like, whatever. And
Yeah.
I was like, what? I don't know if I just didn't have a whole bunch of oxygen in my brain at the time. Right? But it was taking me a second to process that. I was like, yeah, sorry. And
Yeah.
I just ran off. And bro, I shit you not even 5 seconds later. The other drill instructor from across the pad was like, how come you're not fucking first? How come you're not fucking done?
Yeah.
He looks back and he's like, told you. That's like,
It's what it
damn.
is.
It's like, yeah. It's like, but I do look at that sometimes as like, in the world of men, if you will. I was like, I think that is it's a privilege to have that weight. Like sometimes
Should be.
yeah, I think it's a privilege. 100%.
So two parts of that in because what we're talking about it's in the good times and the bad, not just the bad.
Hmm.
But bad stuff that you've seen talking about societal stuff. How many? I mean, there's stories that flood the news and my feed and all that stuff like that about people who are just going off the. I mean, there was just one because a lady is in jail because she killed somebody over a fast food order or whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen it a million times where they get into altercations. People shoot the fucking person at the window.
Hmm.
Just crazy
Crazy
shit
shit.
about really nothing.
Mhm.
You know, my fries aren't hard, whatever it is. It's like, and these are to me, these are just inane, innocuous. Like, are you shitting me, bro? Like, we've all gone through some fast food and not gotten the correct order,
Mhm.
whatever. You just chalk it up or whatever. But you know, the fights where they're jumping over the counter
Yeah.
at McDonald's, whatever it is. And I'm just like, that's fucking insane. Like, do you have no like? There's no shame. But also the positive side. So let's talk about this. So like, you
Mhm.
take your kids to I don't know, Disney, whatever, like some sort of amusement park or some fun event.
Mhm.
Even in their excitement, they'll start losing their fucking minds. Like they just want to go run into a crowd, to go do whatever it is they want to go see. And it's like,
Yeah.
bro, have you lost your mind? Like, have you lost your mind? We're here to have fun,
Yeah.
but don't lose all sense of who you are. Like, you're not just gonna go run around this fucking
Mhm.
amusement park. I will say this. I don't know if we talked about it on 56 and bro. I keep saying that this show, but the Japanese, I think Stoicism,
Mhm.
it they will never show emotion. It doesn't mean they don't have emotion,
Mhm.
but for them, one, it's a cultural thing. Two, it's a family thing. Like you never want to bring shame or embarrassment to your family. Like the idea when they look at Americans, and again, not everybody, but they look at we'll call it ratchetry, where
Yeah.
it's like,
It's a generality.
why
Yeah.
did they get upset? Why did they get so upset that they're rolling around, flopping around, screaming, yelling? Like,
Mhm.
do they have no shame?
Yeah. It's like, well,
There's no shame, bro.
yeah, I think it's what said it, pride in your name and pride in your perception. Doesn't mean not be who you are, but,
Yeah.
when you get out of I guess, out of character, it's, and I find that most a lot of some of my more regrettable moments,
Mhm.
usually come out of not being stoic,
Yeah.
of not holding it together, like, immediately,
Yeah.
you're like, mm, shoulda, wish I woulda kept that in, but, you know.
Yeah. But once again, for me, this is mostly outside the house. Although, to your point, you should still be kind of that rock, so to speak, even in the house. But there needs to be some room for you to valve off and to be emotional.
Mhm.
To be able to express some emotion, but right time or place. But to your point, let's say your wife and your 2, 3 kids or whatever are just they feel like their world's coming to an end. You need to be you can't feed into that because once again, what good is that? And that's something I talked to my daughter about, and she's a teenager, so it's totally different.
Mhm.
And I'm like, being this upset, crying, angry, losing your mind, how does that help what's going on in any way?
Nope.
Are you able to think clearly? Are you able to address it? Tomorrow when you wake up, is it going to be this serious? I don't know, right? Probably not.
For most cases, it won't be.
Most
In
cases,
most
it will
cases, it will
not.
not be. Yeah. In most cases, it will not be.
Yeah.
But that
Once
does
again, teenagers, but it is what it is.
that point you made does lead us into the next thing, right? We
Yes.
talked about the family thing. It's like the second one or the third one for the day is don't talk to women about your problems.
So what do you mean by that?
So we've
I don't know
all
how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that statement, but go ahead.
mm,
I want to hear it. Go.
okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't have to agree.
so in most cases, right? And I'm not talking about like I'm not talking about like your problems of like, oh, hey, like, had a rough day at the office today, or like,
Yeah, I know what you're
work was
saying.
shitty, whatever, right? So I'm talking about your
Yep.
actual fucking problems where you don't feel like you have it together, right? That is for us, as other men to discuss back and forth because these are men problems, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, we talked about, you should be the rock of your family, and they have a perception of not necessarily being stoic, but of having most things figured out, if not having it figured out, having a plan, or having some sort of solution going forward.
Mhm.
Um, that's what I mean, right? Because we've all seen it. We've all seen it, and obviously we're generalizing here. Women have very very sharp tongues,
Oh, buddy.
very very sharp tongues, right? Um, and what I mean by that is like, was it scenario wise? We'll just say we'll make up a scenario, right? You're thinking about fucking, eating your goddamn gun one day, or like, offing yourself, or whatever, right? You have a weak moment, whatever. And one, one or two things, right? One, that's probably going to change her perception of you in the long run or in the short term. She'll have a different
Mhm.
perception of you. And two, if you ever piss her off, or we know when it can be vindictive, right? It's like that shit will come back to
Oh, yeah.
bite you. She'll be like, "Well, the next time you want to fucking jump off a goddamn bridge, go call your mom."
Yep,
What? What? So now you're gonna, sometimes those things get weaponized against you, right?
for
And
sure.
it's very, and again, I say women just for the sake of the conversation, but that could be, other men as well. But obviously, other men shouldn't do that to one another. But it's
No.
like, so you and I have talked about plethora of different things that are, difficulties or whatever, but that is something that you and I discuss back and forth. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
one, we never use that to weaponize against you or belittle you at a later date or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever had another man like, well, again, once I'm friend or
exactly.
confidant,
Yeah.
that that kind of,
Yeah.
relationship. I don't think I've ever had another man do that. Well, remember what you said 3 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But what?
I've never had that happen.
Never had that happen, right? It's like, but
Yeah.
it has happened in the other way, where it's like,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just like, it's been weaponized. Your emotions or your low points get weaponized against you. You're like, hmm. And I was telling this to a lady before, and she was like, I was like, men should not talk to women. Men should not talk to I say their women, right? Um,
Yeah.
um, because I have a
I
female.
think that could be a blanket statement, to be
This is,
honest with you.
but I have a female therapist, but obviously that's a little bit different. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
That's different, but
right, I say, but at a minimum, your woman should not talk to her about your problems
yeah.
as a man and the things that you are designated to be in charge of or be confident with, right? If she's looking to you to be a provider or a protector or whatever,
Yeah.
and like I was telling this to a lady, she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You shouldn't talk to you about his problems." She's like, "Of course you can." He's like, "I'm his woman. You should be able to talk to you about anything." I was like, "Absolutely fucking not."
No.
Let me give you a scenario, right? I was like, and this is the reason why you don't do this. I was like, because it's going to change your perception of him as your man,
Mhm.
as a not college. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, okay, let's just say, you're in bed and a traitor comes in, and I was like, what are your expectations in that moment? Well, he should go do this, or he should do this, or he should do that, or whatever. I was like, okay, fine, all very fine, dandy. I agree with you. I was like, but what if it turns out to be like, the dog knocked some shit over in the front, right? I was like, but he was wildly fucking scared, didn't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And he comes back and he expresses that to you. Oh, oh my God, I'm so glad that was just a dog. I was so fucking afraid. I didn't know what to do. Oh, I was just, if that had been someone else, I wouldn't know what to do. And I was like, he tells you that, then what?
Yeah.
She's like, well, yeah, I might look at him a little bit different. I was like, yes, exactly. I was like, that's what I was like. And what I mean is, I was like, those types of things, right? I was like,
Yeah.
he should talk to another dude. I was like, he's like, bro, I know what the fuck to do. I gotta like figure something out. I gotta get a gun. I gotta, learn how to do this or whatever. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's a,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like that's a man to man conversation where it's like, hey man, I'm gonna help you fix this because we, we, we can't,
You can't be rolling like that, bro,
we
yeah.
can't be rolling like that. We gotta correct this, right? So,
Yeah.
but that's what I mean. Like they're like, oh, and like, and I was like, I was like, men should not talk to women about their emotional issues. I was like, because one, and I think this goes both ways, right? I don't think men 100% understand uh, issues or problems that women go through on a day-to-day basis, right?
No.
And vice versa, right? So it's whereas like we talked about the TRT thing, right? Where the shit was
Mhm.
raising my estrogen a little bit, and my levels were kind of like off.
Mhm.
I'm like, why am I so fucking emotional? Why am I crying? I don't understand. Right? I was like, what the fuck is going on? This girl was like,
You were riding the
right,
dragon, bro.
right. And she's like, now you know what a motherfucker feels like. So when I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I don't know how I feel. I'm like, yeah, I had no idea what the fuck you meant, but now I guess I kind of fucking get it, right?
Yeah.
But shit like that, I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. Well, it's not to say that I can't logically understand. I logically understand what you're saying, but I can't empathize or sympathize with what you're talking about or
Mhm.
what you're doing. But it's coming from a place of that. I guess is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and again, everyone has their own relationships or whatever, but to your point, like, if you're always super emotional, crying,
Mm,
um, even if you're not physically crying, but just like you're always just worried and scared, or you're constantly like, I'm not gonna. You're constantly talking down about yourself,
Mm,
whatever the scenario might be, in work or all these things. You create this atmosphere of doubt, even though you're like, I'm just expressing to you how I feel. Because listen, men think about these things a lot,
mhm,
and it takes a lot sometimes to step out of that. And even when you don't know what you're doing, or you are having the bad day, or you're having that low moment, like you were talking about, and it happens more often than people think or might know.
mhm,
So one, I'm not telling, just to be clear, men, you should talk about that with, hopefully you got someone in your life. Either again, it's not just don't talk to women about it, but another man, whatever, professional, something like that.
mhm,
You do need to get it out, but you start creating that doubt and that hesitancy in your partner and your
mhm,
kids. They're like, man, because they're like, I can't talk to him about anything because he's already going through so much. So now you've removed yourself from their own.
mhm.
Uh, uh, they don't feel comfortable talking to you about it because they don't want to add to it,
Yeah,
right? So there's that. And but just to go all the way back to say, don't talk to women. I'm going to say this: don't talk to other women. I'm not saying professional,
yeah,
therapists or something like that. I'm
mhm.
not saying or psychiatrists and all this other stuff, but like other women in your life, because that's just, bro, that's a toehold into your relationship,
Ooh,
and
ooh,
very few are gonna try to help you and for real, and not try to just throw that little boop.
little
Oh well,
seed up.
maybe she's not the one for you. Oh, boom,
Mm,
boom. That's You're doing everything right. What is she? Just
mm,
those little nuggets, right?
mhm,
Those little kernels, and
mhm,
just you're like, oh, you're right. Maybe she isn't. See what I'm saying? Like
mm,
very rare,
mm. That's a
very
well, yeah.
rare.
That's yeah. That's
That's why I tell, especially women in relationships, don't talk to other dudes about what we got going. Like,
ooh.
don't do
Yeah,
that.
as a relational thing, yeah,
Hell
bro,
no.
you shouldn't be talking to other people about your issues in your relationship at
No.
all. Because I've seen it. I've been through it. I've been on the other side of it where
Uh-huh. I've been on both sides of that shit.
both sides where it's like, hey, she's talking to her friends about the relationship, and she said so many negative things about you that now when you are back in her on her good side of your graces, like now she her own
She got
doing,
that doubt.
right? But not even that. I was like, but she's put herself in a position where it's like now you have to go back on what you said. Well, I thought he was all these negative things. So if he's all these terrible things, then
Why are you
why
back?
are you over there? Why are you back out? I thought it was so terrible. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, because you guys weren't getting the whole story and you were just she was just upset and
She was upset, so she was just valving.
just about yeah, exactly. I was like, well,
Yeah.
she was venting, and I was like, and I heard this thing, I thought it was pretty good. He said, you got to be careful about vents because usually vents go into other rooms. I was like, I was like, I was like, "Oh, shit." I was like, "Damn, that's" I was
Yeah,
like, "Shit,
bro.
that's a good one." Like, "Damn, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful about that." I was like, "Yeah, but
And let me go ahead.
yeah, no, but I agree." I was like, "You shouldn't be talking to, other women, other men, in general, vice versa, whatever."
No.
Um, Especially people that aren't trusted, that have no, they don't wanna see you do well and be successful. That's gonna give you, like for example, like, I would go to Mo and be like, "Hey, Mo, this is what's going on. Give me an honest female perspective
Yeah.
on what is happening."
Am I fucked up?
You like,
But
am I
Mo will be
fucked
like,
up?
yeah,
She said,
you
yeah,
are. That's fucked
yeah, you're
up.
fucked up. And I usually expect more to tell me I'm fucked up, right? As I say,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um, but in situations like that, yes, you can have um uh people that you trust to be well, especially people to be objective in what you're saying,
Yeah.
to give you an honest opinion of that. And usually go to the opposite to give you things that you can't see, right? So I'm like, I'm going
Yeah.
to get a female perspective on this issue. Is like maybe okay, tell me what I'm not seeing, what I'm not because I'm clearly not understanding this, or give me a different perspective on this. And also, I have other female friends who will come and ask me, "Hey, am I fucked up? Am I seeing this? Am I seeing this right?" I was like, one, I don't want to know the ins and outs of all your fucking relationship. I was like, just give me a fucking scenario, and I'll give you a male perspective on said scenario. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I agree. So for in a generality, like so you're just giving. I think we talked about it before. I was like, people like to ruin shit, and sometimes not necessarily on purpose, but people have
Mhm.
the ability to ruin things externally. And it's like ships, ships don't sink from the water. They sink from the shit that from the water outside that gets inside.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm gonna say this too, because this always blows my mind when, like, once again, both sides, men and women, don't matter. But when they want to talk about relational issues with people who are either A, not in a relationship, or B, have never been, and they're like, "Well, from my perspective," it's like,
You don't have a perspective.
bro,
You don't have a perspective.
like, what are you even talking about? That shit, I just laugh. I'm like, I care so little about whatever that person has to say. Like, it does not impact me at all.
Mm-mm. I
I'm
just
like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Don't do that.
I don't. I say this all the time. I don't seek advice or uh, anything from somebody who hasn't gone through what I've gone through, or been where I've been, or attained what I'm looking to attain. I just no, because you can't tell me about it.
Mm-mm. And that does it creates we'll wrap up here in a second, bro. I'm digging these miniseries.
Hmm.
In it's why I understand cops and military guys. They usually only have friends that are cops or in the military, right? Which I'm going to say right now is not a good thing.
I don't think so.
For every single one of your friends to only be doing what you're doing, it's not a good thing. You do need that outside perspective, but it is very difficult because friends of mine that I have that have never touched either one, but it's successful in their own rights.
Hmm.
When you start trying to express what's going on or how you're feeling, they're like, the 3 or 4 men that I have that I talk to, like, about this stuff, they're
Hmm.
just like, I can only talk to you from my perspective because what you're saying is wild, bro. Matter of fact, I've had a couple go, please don't ever say that out loud in front of my family because it will scare them. They don't understand that's
Yeah.
how the world is. And I was like, well, it's not everyone in the world, but it's just my world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, this is what I just
Hmm.
dealt with. When you're talking about some of the horrific shit that you
Hmm.
see, and then you try not to take it home and put it on your kids or your spouse. And they're like, I had one friend, eh, yeah, you know who he is. Anyway, he was just like, um, truthfully, I wish you wouldn't have told me that because now that's ruined my day. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I got to talk to somebody.
Sorry, my bad, bro.
Next time, don't tell me that. But okay, all
Yeah.
right. I'll pray for you, bro. Oh, bro,
Uh,
you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
man.
It's funny as fuck.
Yeah. Nah, that was
Uh,
a good one, bro.
that's a good
Anything
one.
else? Want to leave on?
No, man. No, I think that's a good person to round it out for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, brother. I'm digging the
All right, we'll
miniseries.
catch it again.
All right, bro.